Call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Wake the room! Lou, Rex, Pam Ray, Naomi, Afasiana, Babbler, Monarch Soul, Jojo, Grey Eyes, fill my eyes. Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain, or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shift, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press. Put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain. Like you came in one shape, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whispering the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, Wednesday breaks, parts in the parts, ink down the spine, half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. In the yard, a seduction walks soft through the smoke. Silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves in a craft and sullen art. The ache gets a voice, pain stands up street and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the devil gives way, when the masses sink but the pulse says pray. Echoes in the dark, oh hun, the fear, that thing when no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it, say it. Fill my eyes with poetry, don't water it down. Let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruised dress smart, and rhythm and rhyme puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing! This ain't filler for the dead space, no. This is a pulse with a pen, this is blood with a nickel. This is breath to the backbone, ink with the crown. Live mics, live nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom. The line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark. A room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the nothing more. Late night poets, when the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. LNP, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello, world. Happy Monday. You are listening to the Garden of Enlightenment. This show, sorry, is brought to you by a group on allpoetry.com called Late Night Poets. And we have a show each and every night of the week, sometimes two. So feel free to check those out and help support these shows by checking out our anthologies on amazon.com. And here we have poetry from poets around the world in print, in hardcover and paperback. So yeah, tonight's show is based on front page picks as well as open poetry. So yeah, should be a good night. All right, I'm gonna grab the first poem. Oh, hi Phil.
How are you, Gray?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you?
If I was any better, I'd be twins. How's how's life?
It's a casual Sundays. I mean Mondays, so it's been pretty good.
Good, very
Yeah,
good.
a day in the past, I guess.
Yeah, right. That's all right. Sometimes that's a good place to be. Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of quiet day here too. Weather is a little bit cooler than it was yesterday, which is nice. We only got up to 77. Life is good. But
Yeah,
yeah, I figured I'd better pop on and hang out with you. And here comes Pam. God bless her soul. Yeah. Um, Hi, Pam. She magically just pops on stage. I think that is so funny. I can't do it. What's up with that, Pam? That your magic wand? She's not speaking to me, Gray.
I know, right?
Yeah, she's not speaking to me.
Hey,
Maybe.
Gray. Hi, Phil.
See, she was waiting for you, Gray. That's what that was.
Yeah.
I just couldn't quite hear what was being said, so I wasn't sure if I was interrupting a conversation or being talked about.
I know. I actually said that here you were before you ever even
Aha.
popped on stage.
All, all right. All right. Be here.
Oh, what was that?
What was
I
Say,
what?
don't know.
I don't know. I heard this really
Sounded
loud.
like a needle scratching across the record.
Yeah, it did. It did. It surely did.
I don't know. The only sound I heard was my teenager opening the door to that leads to their cave and then going back into the cave. So
Uh,
that could have been what you heard.
yeah. Well, I don't know. It didn't sound like that unless the
Oh,
door was
okay.
dragging across the carpet loudly. Yes, yes. So, how was your day, Pam?
Hi, Pam.
Hey, you know what? It was good. It was productive. Um, I woke up at 6:30 in the morning. By 7:30, I had my oldest daughter was taking me shopping. By 9, I had a meeting with the apartment manager to, all that renewal stuff.
Oh yeah,
And I did a lot of cooking, I did cleaning, I judged a contest, I started a new one. I
damn.
mean, it was just, it was actually a really nice productive day. I think it helped that, we had it cooled down like 5 degrees. Like we didn't make it to 80 today, and it was more overcast, and that just, oh my goodness gracious, I felt like I actually had energy. I made that stroganoff I was meaning to make for a while. And yeah, I just, you know, I'm just
Right.
happy when I have those kind of days because they don't come too often.
Right. Right. No, I hear you. I hear
Yeah, absolutely.
you. She's got an
Um,
awful energetic gray. Maybe we should just let her run it.
right?
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
Yeah, I fixed my mom's printer today. Changed her ink.
Nice.
Um, had a
Nice.
bunch of yeah. She had a bunch of prints in the queue, and that finally got emptied out. So yeah, it was a good day.
Very good. Very good.
Well,
I just
if you're going around taking care of refrigerators, I got one that needs to be cleaned. So
You
Bree's like,
funny,
yeah, I
Pam. You
don't think
funny.
so.
Yeah.
I had a
Oh,
fairly good day. I got my dishes done and then I cooked and made a bunch more. So life is good. It was a start to the week.
nice.
Absolutely.
Yes, but we had
Nice.
seafood and pasta tonight, so it was all good.
That
Uh,
sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, you know what I'm craving though?
Ooh, what?
Pumpkin soup.
Oh,
Pumpkin soup.
Oh, because
Jojo made pumpkin soup today, and I want some. So I'll
oh,
give you
that
my address
I
after the
would be
show,
willing
Jojo.
to
If you could
try
just
that.
oh, it's delicious. Pumpkin soup is awesome.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I like cooked pumpkin. I've never actually tried pumpkin soup, but years ago I had mentioned this in Late Night Poets. I had made a apple butternut squash soup, and that was
Oh, I
really
know that one
good.
made my mouth water. Yeah,
mm,
sounds
Yeah,
delicious.
good stuff. I
okay.
just really like experimental soups. Not like you know what I mean, like ones that you think wouldn't be good, like I actually like sauerkraut soup, which is good if you like cabbage. If you don't like cabbage, it's not much, but I don't know. Like they're just the great thing about soups is whatever your flavor profile that you enjoy, there's a soup for
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to my mom earlier about wedding soup.
Oh, Italian wedding soup. Oof,
Yeah,
one of my
Oh,
favorites.
that's
so
good
good,
stuff.
Yeah,
so good.
it
You
is.
never had it, so
It's easy too. It's easy to make. It really
It
is.
really, yep.
Mm-hmm. It tastes so uh, maybe complicated, because of the different ingredients and how they strike your palate. But God, it's so easy. Yeah, I'll have to send you the recipe, Gray.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I haven't had it in ages, but I do love it.
yeah, it's
I'm a
good.
big fan of soups as well.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
soups and stews. Soups and stews. That's
exactly.
the good stuff. A bowl of soup and a nice
Yeah,
piece of crusty buttered bread. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
I
know.
have
Here we
to
are going
agree.
into summer talking about soup.
Oh my goodness.
That's usually a
Yeah.
fall thing, a winter thing.
Well, that's
But
when you got to
anyway,
start
soup
making
any
like
time
the
of year.
gazpacho and the cold soups that
Oh
just
yeah,
hit just right.
I've never
absolutely.
had gazpacho.
Mm.
Oh, really?
It's delicious.
Well, I mean, it's similar in profile, not exactly. I know purists will tell me how wrong I am, but it's kind of like salsa, though maybe not quite as spicy. And there usually is like the recipes I use have cucumber in it, but it's very refreshing. Um,
Very.
yeah, okay. Well, Jojo says I'm not wrong. It's like a mild salsa. So yeah, similar to a mild salsa. Thank you, Jojo. I just didn't I want to, say the wrong thing, but yeah, it's just I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's just to me one of the most refreshing things to have on hand during the summer.
Mm.
Mm,
Good
yeah, it
stuff.
sounds delicious. I've never had it, but it sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you can have cucumbers in a soup, you know
Yep.
it's gonna be good.
It's a win-win.
Yes.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Oh,
Well, now that
Well,
everybody's
thank you,
now that
ladies,
everybody's
for.
hungry,
I know, right?
uh,
Let's get the show done and fire up the stoves.
uh,
But yeah. All right. So I've got the first poem posted. It's called "Until" by Mike Horsfall. And it goes like this. The world has grown, frayed at its seams, its edges blurred like a forgotten painting left to rot. The oak tree outside my window, now fading, just dark fingers scratch a silent sky. The photographs on the mantel, just squares of sepia yellowed losses, faded family, faded friends. I reach out, hand quivering, twisted fingers reluctant, touching the doorframe as if to memorize its grain. Those doors that once swung wide, to children, to welcoming arms, to laughter, touching as if my hands might remember what my eyes refused to see, now ajar to whispers of ghosts and demons. Goodbye to the hallway, that narrow threat of shadow leading to emptiness. The kitchen table. How many meals shared there? How many elbows? How many silences? Scarred with the symbols of solitary suppers. Now it's just a pale rectangle. I navigate by memory, by worn edges, by the muscle of habit that outlives sight. I trace the splintered trail, each notch a slow count down, each step down, a carpeted trap, a small death, descending into the abyss of unshared nights, and I discard them like a man letting go, listening to, learning to live in a smaller, emptier world, learning to say goodbye to the geography of this house. Outside, the birds still sing in their bright, indifferent songs. I cannot see them. I only hear their leaving, their fading hymn, their notes stabbed into this old man's last beats, and now understand it perfectly how they abandoned the morning for somewhere else, someone else, how they do not look back. Outside, the flowers droop in their weed filled beds. I do not tend them. I just remember their wilting. They abandon the trellis, the dawns, for wider fields. Colors now surrendered to a sunless shadow. They'll not bloom again. They need not return. Only thorns and brambles remain. My hands know the walls better than my eyes ever did. I press my palms against the plaster, feeling for the pulse of life lived there, for the echo of voices that have stopped coming. Goodbye to the mirror, to the stranger there. Goodbye to the window, and whatever lies, light still whispers. Goodbye to sitting with the phone. Goodbye to the chair where no one sits beside me. Goodbye to the garden, no longer colored. I'm learning the language of emptiness, silence of alone, becoming fluent in solitude, in darkness, my vision blurring into fog, into storms, then into a night, then into nothing. Now only the sound of my breathing, the last thing I will not have to say goodbye to until I do. And poem.
Nice.
What did you think? Fill my eyes?
Oh, I like this piece. I liked the piece the first time I heard it. I thought it was a wonderful job by Mike. Incredible imagery. Um, and I picked it up here. I picked up the last three stanzas. My hands know the walls better than my eyes ever did. I press my palm against the plaster, feeling for the pulse of a life lived there, for the echo of voices that have stopped coming. Goodbye to the mirror, to the stranger there. Goodbye to the window and whatever lies. Light still whispers. Goodbye to sitting by the phone. Goodbye to a chair where no one sits beside me. Goodbye to the garden no longer colored. I am learning the language of emptiness, of silence, of alone, becoming fluent in solitude, in darkness. My vision blurring into fog, into storms, then into a night, then into nothing. Now only the sound of my own breathing, the last thing I will not have to say goodbye to until I do. It's a very sad and solemn piece in so many ways. I mean, it's just loss in so many different on so many different levels. You know, loss of vision, loss of people, loss of the things that make life joyful. You know, and I think that Mike did an excellent job with this. Thanks, Mike, for sharing. Appreciate it.
Absolutely fantastic comment. Fill my eyes. And Pam Ray, what did you think?
Oh my goodness, this has such strong emotive lines, um, very just amazing imagery throughout. I like how this is a really impactful write on loss that brings changes and a long list of goodbyes that sadly have to be faced. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially like the kitchen table, how many meals shared there, how many elbows, how many silences scarred with the symbols of solitary suppers. Now it's just a pale rectangle I navigate by memory, by worn edges, by the muscles of habit that outlives sight. Um, Amazing write and very well done by Mike Horsfall.
Thank you, Pam Ray. Okay, I've got the next poem up, and this is called "The Queen Bee's at Queen Bee's Stop" by LG. If you wouldn't mind reading this, Pam, I mean Phil, please and
I
thank
would
you.
be happy to.
Oh, okay.
White apple blossoms shine like stars on table that she sets her sweets, of citrus orange honey jars with linen lids as homemade treats. A wooden dipper lets you taste the flavor of a trickle drop, for none would ever go to waste at Queen Bee's apiary stop. She's off the highwayed country road, but business booms and keeps her drones producing jeans to carry loads for spreading on ends, buttered scones. Her bed and breakfast travels south by humming guests with hungry mouths. End poem.
Beautiful read, Pam Ray. And it's I liked it. It speaks to. There's a couple of honey stops along a couple of routes in my town, and it's always just wondrous to stop in there and hear the bees buzzing. You can see them in their boxes, and to know that they're producing um, honey in their boxes is always fascinating to me. That you know these are always on the edge of fields that are full of flowering plants, and so you get to taste the variations of two different sides of town type thing. Uh, I've always thought that local honey is much better than imported honey, just because you're tasting what is around you, the flowers that they fed on, and you know, there's one field that's oh, I'm trying to think of the name of the flower. Oh my gosh, lilac? No, it's not lilac. Uh, I can't think of it. Anyway, it's a little
Lavender,
purple flower.
lavender.
Lavender, that's it. You can actually taste the lavender in the honey, and that's always fascinated me that you're tasting the flavor of the flowers in the honey, and that the bees are the little mechanism for that transference. So just a beautiful rate. Well done. And fill my eyes. What did you think?
Well, first off, I thought that this was a lovely piece. Great imagery throughout, and nice lines shared with us all. Congratulations on the front page pick. Well deserved. Um, and I picked it up here. A wooden dipper lets you taste the flavor of a trickle drop, for none should ever go to waste at Queen Bee's apiary shop or stop. She's off the highway, county road, but the business booms and keeps her drones, producing jeans to carry load for spreading on ends buttered scones. Just sounds so I don't know, wonderful, just wonderful. So Great piece, and thank you for sharing with us tonight, LG. Hmm.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Phil. And Pam Ray, what did you think?
Oh, this is just lovely, and it does make my mouth water. I have to agree with you, Gray, about buying local honey. Like one of my favorite things about going to the local farmers market in that we have in this town is not only the fresh veggies, but there will usually be people who sell honey and maple syrup that they, make process and make themselves. And I always found that to be just so much yummier than the um, than the store bought stuff. But I love the rhyme and flow of this poem. It's just I like how it pays tribute to the sweet taste of honey and the importance of the bees who make it. So wonderful, right by LG, and very well done.
Nice.
Beautiful comment, Pam Ray. Thanks so much. Okay, Fill My Eyes. I have the next poem up if you wouldn't mind giving that a read, please. It is by Teacher Kevin's Poems, and it's called Room 3B, Appy House Adjacent. Whenever you're ready.
Sure thing. He asked it between the
It's a
kettles.
short one, so. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. He asked it between the kettle's second whistle and the moment the mug chips its lip on the counter. Not loudly, like he is checking weather, like rain might answer for him. Outside, Nong Road is chewing traffic again. Matatus coughing diesel into the afternoon. A hawker folding yesterday's headlines into sharper, smaller squares. I keep my eyes on the spoon. It circles the tea without touching it, making a small orbit of nothing. He repeats the question anyway, not because I didn't hear him, but because silence sometimes looks like confusion when it is actually measurement. The kettle clicks off too late. Steam climbs the wall calendar. March stuck on a date that refuses to move. On the table, two receipts from Quickmart. One pen without a cap, a SIM card wrapper torn like skin. He says my name first this time, then asks again, as if adding weight might help it land differently. I notice his thumb tapping the mug handle. 3 taps, stops, starts again. The fridge hums like it knows something we don't. Somewhere in the corridor, the caretaker drags a bucket, water scraping concrete in a tired rhythm. I could answer quickly. I could give him something smooth enough to swallow. Instead, I watch how the tea leaves settle, slow, deliberate, as if choosing where not to be seen. When I finally speak, I do not use the word he came for. I tell him about the gate last night, how it stayed open after midnight, how the wind kept entering and leaving without asking. His face changes shape in small increments, not breaking, just rearranging itself around a new object in the room. He sets the mug down carefully, like it might remember his fingerprints. Outside, a matatu horn stretches long and impatient. Nobody moves. The kettle cools beside us, learning the room's temperature without agreeing to it. Ends poem.
Wow, beautiful read. Fill My Eyes.
Thank you.
Pam Ray, what did you think?
Well, first of all, sorry about the laugh, but I couldn't believe that Gray had the cojones to actually tell Jean that this was a short poem.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that cracked me up.
You should have been around the other night.
Oh,
He was really a wise guy the other night. Hmm.
yes, right, right.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, this is a strong right. I like the spacing, how he goes back and forth between like different lines, amounts in the stanzas. Like some are just a single line or a couplet, which I think makes those stand out. This has strong imagery. It has a real personal note to it. I like how it takes an everyday moment, everyday conversation, and shows us how it can be sometimes a struggle to communicate, especially in those moments of silence. And I think that especially comes through in I keep my eyes on the spoon. It circles the tea without touching it, making a small orbit of nothing. He repeats the question anyway, not because I didn't hear him, but because silence sometimes looks like confusion when it is actually measurement. Wonderful lines and very well done.
Beautiful comment, Pam Ray. Yeah, I like the imagery that's involved here. Outside Nyang Road is chewing traffic again. Matatus coughing diesel into the afternoon. A hawker folding yesterday's headlines into sharper, smaller squares. I had to Google Matatus, and it's like a taxi, like a bus, and it carries up to 33 people. But yeah, that's just really pulls you in. But also the kettle, there's a quiet moment where they're in their kitchen, and yet outside there's loudness. There's diesel. Um, and then the kettle clicks off too late. Steam climbs up the wall calendar. Mark stuck on a date that refuses to move. And then, like it's just so intimate and engaging. Like it's you're in this kitchen with this couple as they sit there starting their morning. Um, I tell him about the gate last night, how it stayed open after midnight, how the wind kept entering and leaving without asking. Yeah, I mean, wind doesn't take shit from nobody. It's going to do what it wants, and nothing you can say is going to stop it. I like that. But the whole rate was really well done. I thought it was beautiful. A great read as well, Phil. And what did you think, Phil? My eyes.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on a second. I'm mid word here. Um, I actually thought it was well done. There was great imagery and conveyance of thought throughout. He told the story well. He didn't overtell it. He didn't, add too many extra words. It was just enough. And I'm agree with you, Pam. I like the separations. 3 lines, 2 lines, 1 line. It broke it up nicely. Um, and I thought that was good for this piece and the storytelling. Um, and it was funny because first that part I was going to pick up was Pam's, and then the second piece I picked up, I think some you took part of it, Gray, and I started laughing. I'm like, well, okay, I can take 3 lines and then 2 lines and then 3 lines, but I picked it up here. The fridge looks like it knows something we don't. Somewhere in the corridor, the caretaker drags a bucket, water scraping concrete in a tired rhythm. I could answer quickly. I could give him something smooth enough to swallow. Instead, I watch how the tea leaves settle, slow, deliberate, as if choosing where not to be seen. When I finally speak, I do not use the word he came for. I tell him about the gate last night, how it stayed open after midnight, how the wind kept entering and leaving without asking. His face changes shape in small increments, not breaking, just rearranging itself around a new object in the room. And I think that it was very well done. I'm not exactly sure what else I can say. I thought it was just put together nicely. So, thank you for sharing with us. And I know it's Kevin, teacher Kevin poems. That's it. I knew it was Kevin's poems, but I had to make sure I get the name right. But nice job, and congratulations on the front page pick. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. Great comment. Thank you, Phil. All right, so up next we have a poem by Brent R. Grimes, and it's called I Didn't Answer. I'll give this a read. I didn't go out there to fix anything, just a crib under trees remaining small. No clock, no songbirds, a knock, frogs holding dark. I lay still long enough to disappear. Then the owls, just calling distance back and forth. I didn't answer. That's when the noise in me gave up. And the author's note says, written from a real moment of being outside long enough for the mind to stop performing. The natural sounds aren't framed as peaceful or poetic on purpose, they just exist. So that's the gist of the right. Well, got 37 likes, so it's doing well. And what did you think, Bill? My eyes?
I don't know, Gray. I was busy getting the link. I'm sorry. So,
All
Pam,
right, welcome back,
I
sir.
hate to tell you, Pam, I have to throw you under the bus.
All right, no
So
problem.
I'll
Yeah, I
restart.
did find this poem really intriguing the way he wrote it. I thought his AN was nice and helpful. Um, I do like how he writes this in such a straightforward and simple style that he tells you simply what he is surrounded by. The noises of nighttime, the animals of nighttime, and he shows us these images, and it's almost like we as the readers have to put the emotion into it, like what would we feel if we were standing in here in a moment. And I'm trying to think if there's ever been a moment where I've been outside in nature and my mind has actually gotten to the point where there's no more thoughts. But I kind of have one of those minds that very rarely is not having a thought, even if it's like just you know, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, ice cream. There's usually some sort of thought happening. But I get, and at the same time, though, I get what he's saying because there will be time like I'm walking by the rivers or the river and I'm watching the turtles sun and it just feels so relaxing to me. And I thought there were great lines throughout, but I especially like no clock, songbirds a knock, frogs holding dark. I lay still long enough to disappear. Wonderful lines and very well done by Brent R. Grimes.
Beautiful comment, Pam Ray. Thank you. Yeah, I liked it too. It is hard to shut the mind off, but fishing has the ability to let it click off. I think you can just be at peace, hearing the sounds of the loons and um, the water as it ripples, etc. There's just such a peacefulness with fishing. I think that's why a lot of men go fishing because the world shuts off. You're just your fishing pole, and the nature around you, and so it's quiet, it's peaceful. There's no loud children. There's no nagging wife, or yelling boss or whatever. It's just you, nature, and the fishing pole. So that's what it reminded. It reminded me of fishing.
Mm.
But yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. All right, I've got the next poem up. If you wouldn't mind reading that, please, Pam.
I would be happy to. Let me just get back to where I need to be. And all right. To do. Oops, that is the wrong one. Let me refresh. Um, Here we go. Pixel Gap by Ignaganlu. In a in a district on hold on, starting over again. In a district on Labor Day, an old man sleeps in the park. Three unruly shadows over him wake up. It's morning. Ha ha ha. Someone says dance. The shadows do a short foot dance, then a kick to the old face. Sleep to black out. The red dot on the phone glows. A fallen plane tree fits into a tiny screen, pixel after pixel, like. The prosecutor puts down his pen. They're minors. Tiny typewriter doesn't stop. A voice in the hallway. Come on, son, get out. The light outside is the same as inside. A relieved smile on the parents' faces. One line in the judicial record, a word, it almost says enough. Emptiness between the lines, a wall, a mirror, and microspace. So what did we do? We pressed a key, watched once, some watched a few times. The old man is still on the same street, his face no longer the same. End poem.
Wow, beautiful read, Pam Ray. And Fill My Eyes, what did you think?
I think this was a nice piece. It, it definitely tells a story. Um, it. Let me see where I want to even pick up here. First, I was going to pick it up at the beginning. You know, um, yeah, I'll pick it up here. The prosecutor puts down his pen. They're minors. The typewriter doesn't stop. A voice in the hallway. Come on, son, get out. The light outside is the same as inside. A relieved smile on the parents' faces. One line in the judicial record, a word, it almost says enough. Emptiness between the lines, a wall, a mirror, a microspace. So what did we do? We pressed a key, watched once, some watched a few times. The old man is still on the same street, his face no longer the same. Um, it all revolves, apparently around, this fella sleeping in the park, and what he's gone through, whether these are memories or if he's just watching via the phone, which doesn't sound like that's really the case, but it could be. Um, and it strikes me as he 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 has something vested in this court case, you know, and yeah, and he just is bearing witness to it. I find it to be very clever and well done. So thank you, Nanganlu. I don't know for sure. Inangalu. I don't know. I'm sorry I pronounced it wrong, but my tongue doesn't work that way. But congratulations
Thank
on
you,
that.
Phil.
Hmm.
Great comment. Appreciate it. And Pam Ray, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I have to say, congratulations to Agnalu, not only on getting their front page pick, but also today is their 1 year anniversary of being on All Poetry. So happy poetic journeys. And I thought this was powerful. It honestly brought tears to my eyes because it made me think of how people, just to get attention, will film another person's suffering. Like the idea of these um, teenagers being this cruel to this old man, the cruelty that people have in this world. And not even when you're not cruel, but you become numb to watching this kind of filmed violence, but I think it also is a virus on social media. Just shows that not everyone, but sadly there's aspects of humanity that just going in the wrong direction. And I think social media has a lot to do with it. I like the use of periods in that one line: a wall, a mirror, and microspace. I felt it gave that idea of a much needed pause between those thoughts. Um, and there were strong lines throughout, but I did especially like the last two stanzas that show us that um, even if we weren't part of the violence, we're part of the problem when we watch those videos and add to their likes and add to the views. So excellent, right? And I too apologize for stumbling over their name, but definitely an amazing write and very well done.
Hmm.
Beautiful comment, Pam Ray. Thanks so much. Yeah, this speaks to me of modern society. Here they are, the guy's sleeping on a park bench. Then three unruly shadows. Wake up! It's morning! Ha ha ha! Someone says dance. The shadows do a short foot dance. Then a kick to the old face. He's kicked into a blackout because he's knocked out. Um, and it's all filmed. Pixel after pixel, like after like. You know, um, it's just obnoxious, really, the crap that goes on for views and likes. I mean, the guy's just trying to get by another day, and here you are sticking it to him right in his face with your foot. I think it's just rude and a sad statement on modern society, really. But yeah, thank you so much for reading, Pam. All right, fill my eyes. You're up next.
Okay, is this the one by Zeus?
Yes.
Okay, let me post that link over here. Now, let me find it. Okay. Haiku, The Sun Sets by Zeus. The sun sets over the ocean, a jellyfish's umbrella. The sun sinks into the ocean, a jellyfish's umbrella. After the nukes, volcanoes filling the chasms, a curtain bulge at the window, ghost moon. Heavy rain, the only time we share, an umbrella. After locking ourselves inside the room, we throw the key out. End poem.
Beautiful read. Fill my eyes. And Pam Ray, what did you think?
Oh, this is absolutely lovely. A nicely written Senru haiku chain. Wonderful imagery. I like how it speaks to me on being on vacation together and time spent together. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially like the sun sinks into the ocean, a jellyfish's umbrella, and heavy rain, the only time we share an umbrella. After locking ourselves inside the room, we throw the key out. I like that. The thought of, you know what, it's nice here in this room. Let's just stay here. So excellent write and very well done by Zeus.
Thanks so much, Pam Ray. Yeah, I thought it was impressive. The haiku and senru are expertly executed. Uh, the whole thing just paints a post-apocalyptic world. Where after the nukes, volcanoes filling the chasms. I mean, that's just hardcore right there. You know, curtain bulge at the window, ghost moon. It's just really just an epic, really chain of haiku and senru, beautifully done. And fill my eyes. What did you think?
We answered it was nicely penned and intriguing thoughts throughout. At first, when we were talking about the jellyfish's umbrellas, I was like, okay, okay. And then after the nukes, volcanoes filling the chasms, that to me symbolizes everything has been leveled. And then it goes on with curtain bulge at the window, ghost moon. Heavy rain, the only time we share an umbrella. After locking ourselves inside the room, we throw the key out. And I was a little bit confused that lines about the nukes um, kind of got me turned around a bit. So in that respect, I say it was definitely uh, intriguing because I want more info now. But it was nicely done, and congratulations on the front page pick. And thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Okay. Did we lose Gray and have him come back? Why, yes, we did. Hi, Gray. Welcome back.
Yeah, it threw me out. It's like, get the hell out of here. I don't want you looking at other pages while you're on this page. Get out.
No back button. Remember, no back button.
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't do a back button this time. I just happened to, uh,
You
click
blinked.
my open windows and
Uh,
went to another window and poof, you dropped,
and there he went.
or I dropped. But
Yeah, it
no, that
does
was a
that
great.
sometimes when you're trying to handle things on the phone. I noticed.
Hmm.
I've
I believe it. I believe it. I'm just thankful
yeah.
I have a computer because I don't think I would have the patience. I really don't.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah, yeah, I like the phone. I don't know why. It's all concentrated. It's all front and center. So you know, um, you don't need a laptop,
Right.
which I like. Uh,
That's why they make vanilla and chocolate ice cream. Everybody likes something a little
exactly.
different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So I'm posting the next poem here, and this is called "Survival" by Eugen M. It goes like this: The first day Still strong from a warm bed and hot food, I scavenged for wood and cutting birch with a bill hook, built a warren for myself, its turfed roof, green as a Surrey lawn. I lit a fire, then went out with a lamp to set snares for rabbits I could cook with salt seaweed. In the morning, I gathered chickweed and dandelion, wild mushrooms, and sorrel, eating blackberries to sweeten a salad greenery. In afternoons, I'd perch on the gray rocks along the foreshore, fishing until hunger would drive me to prize limpets from the salt stone. Hunger gnawed. I watched always for the twitch in the heather, a rustle through the bracken that might nourish me. Knife in hand, ready to skin and gut, with blood riddled fingers, yearning for the smoky savor of flame roasted flesh. I braced myself to shower under waterfall rock, my skin a goose flesh of hair, daily more emaciated, scoured by foraging in hedges and thorny clefts, nails broken, hands abraded into rough, insensible talons. As weeks passed, I slowed to the steady pulse of nature's remorseless heartbeat in the wilderness, where all things grow and die, where the quarry flinches, seeks safe shelter, and ventures out watchfully. And I clung like a newborn to earth's mothering, and cold and soiled, a detail in the landscape. End poem. What did you think, Fill My Eyes?
I thought there was a lot of great imagery throughout this piece. And it was, to me, it was someone living off the land. Whether by choice or not by choice, I don't know for sure. But all the different elements of I braced myself to shower under waterfall rock, my skin a goose flesh of hair, daily more emaciated and scoured. I'm not sure if someone is just uh, living there because they have to and there's no other choices. But foraging in the hedges and thorny clefts, nails broken, hands abraded in rough, insensible talons. It sounds like it wasn't something chosen. And it goes up at the top. It says, "In the morning, I gathered chickweed and dandelions, wild mushrooms and sorrel, eating blackberries to sweeten the salad greenery." It's someone who's, obviously living off the land. He set snares for rabbits and to, that he could cook and salt with salt seaweed. I mean, but in the beginning, it sounds not so bad, but then you get down hunger gnawed. I watched always for the twitch in the heather, the rustle in the bracken that might nourish me. So it sounds like someone who's slowly like starving, or whether it's a change of weather that's brought that on, or it's just that things have become um, less available. So I think that it's an intriguing piece. It really is. Because when you get down to the end again, it just doesn't sound good. And I clung like a newborn to Earth's harsh mothering, cold and soil, the detail in the landscape. It sounds like it started out okay, and then it just got harder and harder and harder. So um, but it was well done. As I said, there was great imagery and a lot of great thoughts throughout. So thank you for sharing with us, Eugene M. Nice job.
Absolutely, yeah. Um, I don't know. To me, or sorry, Pam Ray, would you mind commenting, please?
Oh, I would be happy to. I did personally lean towards the idea that this was somebody who had gotten lost. And I think part of that might have been influenced by the fact that some of the videos I watch are, like
Right.
missing people stories about people who got lost in like national state parks or on walking trails because they wandered off. But either way, I think, this definitely is right about someone who's depending on nature for their survival. And it's a realistic look. It's got wonderful imagery, but it's a very realistic look that, yes, nature can provide for you. Nature can keep you alive. I mean, as long as you know what you're looking for, what you're foraging for. But it's also nature is also without remorse. It can be cruel. It's the giver of life, but it's also the taker of life. And I thought there was a strong imagery throughout. But I especially I brace myself to shower under waterfall rock, my skin a goose flesh of hair, daily more emaciated, scoured by foraging in hedges and thorny clefts, nails broken, hands abraded into rough, insensible talons. I find that interesting how that part almost speaks of like a transformation where he starts to feel almost unhuman like. So excellent, right? By Eugenium, and very well done.
Great comment, Pamela. Yeah, I mean, we are so out of place without our city surroundings. When we're thrust into nature, it's a whole different world. And surviving in that, it's completely different than surviving in your 3 bedroom condo or whatever it is with the grocery store on the corner. You got to go and you got to make your shelter. You have to shower in waterfalls, just to wash yourself clean. And it's cold. I mean, the water's cold, and there's nothing you can do about warming it up. Um, yeah, nature can be a beautiful environment, but it can also be a nightmare. If you're not prepared and you don't understand nature and what it's all about, then you're going to suffer. And, pray you never end up there without the resources of modern amenities because, boy, oh boy, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be unkempt. You're going to be unclean. You can't even brush your hair out there. How do you do that? Because there's no combs, there's no brushes. You forget the makeup because that's long gone. I mean, you can use dandelions to put some yellow on you or something, but other than that,
To give you
you're
that
screwed.
jaundice look.
Yeah, exactly. That and some charcoal from the fire. If you
You
manage
know,
to get one of
Gray.
those going.
Gray. Who needs a comb? You got fingers. And Pam,
Yeah.
tell him, Pam. Who the hell needs makeup? Right, Pam?
Well, certainly not me. I mean,
Well,
I'm
you either.
naturally gorgeous.
Right.
Me too. Yeah.
I guess
Mm-hmm.
you could squish some berries on your lips and stain your lips red or something, but
There you go.
um, it, it's it's a whole different world.
It is. It truly is.
So buck up or get out kind of thing. So I thought it was an excellent write, really, on being in a different world than you're used to, for sure.
Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
Pam kind of had the right idea, though. Possibly someone was lost and had enough skills to get by for so long, but then it just became harder and harder. So good call on that one, Pam. That could be the clue I was missing. Hmm. Really,
Well, not to
Absolutely.
say you're clueless or anything, Phil, but
I am. We know it.
Mhm.
You're funny. Oh
All
my.
right, Pam Ray. The next write is up whenever you're ready, please and thank you. It's by Thomas
All
B.
right. It Looks Easy by Thomas B. I feel the click towards midnight. I sense the desire to write down words. I feel the frustration when there is no vision. Words are empty, phrases trite. I am beating on keys, ending on delete, defeated. A poem a day for National Poetry Month. No big deal. What a foolish statement. I grow still, allow my emptiness to become an open field. Seedlings of ideas whisper. I feel the breeze of fresh wonder. I've learned not to respond too quickly. I allow myself to bathe in the insight silence brings. I wait for phases to demand attention. Before the final hour, another success. A poem is born. End poem.
Would you mind reading his author's notes, please, Pamela?
I would be happy. Once again, I succeeded. No AI. I'd rather die. Okay. But yes, congratulations to Thomas B on his success and to everybody on their success for National Poetry Month. That's awesome.
Yeah, great comment, Pam. Thank you so much. This was spot on, really. I mean, we all suffer those mental blocks where it's hard to write anything and words are empty. And, it's hard to get anything out of your, I don't know what you call it, your dark days, you're being on keys, ending in delete, defeated. Um, you know, I like this. It's about getting over that hurdle of not being able to write anything, and then finally, you know, um, you can bathe in the insight of silence, waiting for phases to demand attention. Before the final hour, another success. A poem is born. Yeah, I thought it was great. And Fill My Eyes, what did you think?
And off mute, I think it was a well done poem as well. Um, you know, I wasn't sure where it was going in the beginning, with it looks easy and what have you. But, I picked it up here, a poem a day for National Poetry Month. No big deal. What a foolish statement. I grow still, allow my emptiness to become an open field. Seedlings of ideas whisper. I feel the breeze of fresh wonder. I learn not to respond too quickly, or I allow myself to bathe in the insight silence brings. I wait for phases to demand attention. Before the final hour, another success. A poem is born. It's just not always easy. It sounds easy, like, oh, a poem a day, no big deal. Yeah, but when it comes down to each day, it doesn't always work that way. And I think that this was well captured. So nice job, Thomas B., and thanks for sharing. And congratulations on that front page pick.
Thank you. Fill My Eyes.
Hmm.
And Pam Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, I found these to be very relatable, thoughtful lines. Having done National Poetry Month, the Poem a Day challenge. The last couple years before this, I had finished. This year, I did not. It just kind of got to that point between like being busy and not feeling well that I just couldn't catch up anymore. And you think, oh, I'll just do brevity. I'll do like a haiku a day or something. But I don't know. I mean, I do know people who choose to do a haiku a day, but I just have to do different forms or different, I can't just stick to one form. But it is a challenge. And there are those days and those nights where it's like you're up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to find some inspiration. And sometimes what you really need to do is take that deep breath. As Thomas said, you need to focus in on the quiet and, not force the idea to come, but just to let it, just in your gentle quietness, allow your mind to make observations on your day, on your surroundings, on your inner feelings. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially like, I grow still, allow my emptiness to become an open field. Seedlings of ideas whisper. I feel the breeze of fresh wonder. Excellent write and very well done by Thomas B.
Thank you, Pam Ray. That was a great comment. All right, so up next we have Gary Rubin, and he brings us at the stoplight waiting for spring's green light change. If you wouldn't mind playing the sound for that, please, Phil.
Sure, let me just pick it up so I can post it. La la la. Tell him, Pam. Tell him she got to post it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here we go.
At the stoplight, waiting for spring's green light change by Gary Rubin. Numb fingers defrost after this morning's hike. Stubborn as a Boston Terrier, I refuse to wear gloves. Snow is forecasted for this morning. The battle with winter drones on. Tree branches are lightly peppered with flakes of budding color. They flash as slivered sunshine slices through a gray sky. Popcorn-sized snowflakes float down to the ground. A white blanket. The weatherman refers to this as psychological snow. Frozen English muffin soil starts to thaw underfoot. All those nooks and crannies to soak in the melting butter. An 8-point buck saunters across the walking path. Songbirds yawn, rubbing sleep from their eyes. Winter's taken a 7th-inning stretch, but nature smiles upon a new day. As the sun bounces higher around the sky's orange rim, March Madness overreached into April. Boys of summer shiver like Latino chihuahuas, wishing they were back in the Grapefruit League, where every team's hope springs eternal.
Fantastic read, Gary. And I really like your poem about the battle between spring and winter. And I like your reference to a frozen English muffin. Because I felt that. Where the nooks and crannies, like the ice peaks up, then from the peaks, and the valleys stay low and filled with ice, and everything just crunches under feet as you walk. Um, but wow, it was a wonderful poem. I really liked it. I like the green light of spring as well. Because everything's on hold until spring comes along. Um, it is it winter or is it spring? There's a battle going on, and you're in the middle of it. So, I also enjoyed the popcorn snow. That usually means that it's a warmer temperature with the snow falling. I don't know if that's true, but I've always found that colder it is, the smaller the particles of snow are. Anyway, that's just my opinion. It was a wonderful rate and a fantastic read, Gary. Thank you so much for sharing. And what did you think, on my eyes? Unmute, Phil.
I know I was trying to get back here from where I was. Takes me a minute. I thought this was a great piece, penned, full of wonderful imagery throughout. Well done, and congratulations on that front page pick. And I'm with you, Gray. I picked up that second stanza. Tree branches were lightly peppered with flakes of budding colors. They flash in slivered sunshine slices through the gray sky. Popcorn-sized snowflakes float down to the ground. A white blanket the weatherman refers to as psychological snow. Frozen English muffin soil starts to thaw underfoot. All those nooks and crannies to soak in melting butter. I thought that was a neat last two lines on that stanza. So very well done, and thanks for sharing with us, Gary. Great audio as well.
Great comment. Thanks so much, Phil. And Emery, what did you think?
Oh, I did enjoy the imagery in and that is such a beautiful photograph that Gary took on his walk. This is wonderful imagery and metaphors. I like how he brings in the movement of nature and how what it's like to be in those months of like March and early April where it just seems like there's that transition between winter and spring, like things are starting to move, things are starting to get restless, and yet at the same time you have that coldness, that layer of frost and snow. And great lines all the way through, and very well done by Gary Rubin.
Beautiful comment. Thank you so much, Fab. All right, so I'm going to grab the next poem here, and I'll figure out who reads in a second because I've completely lost track. Oh, not come on. All right, you read last, Pam, so that means it is
Correct.
Fill My Eyes read. All right, whenever you're ready, Fill My Eyes, please. Thank you.
Can you tell me who the poet is, Greg?
Okay, yep, sure. This is by Nat411, and it is called "The Night the Library Stayed Open."
Yeah, I just need to know who the poet is because I need to give them credit over on YouTube. So I have to pick up from the topic board. So sorry.
Right,
Um,
that's okay.
yeah, and when I look over into the room, it doesn't tell me. It's a little.
Yeah, I
I
don't know where she's getting her links from or
I don't
whatever,
I
but
don't I don't know either. Because I
it's
I don't.
strange that Google has taken over her phone.
Yeah, it's very strange. So but okay. So the night the library stayed open by Nat 411. Old Mr. Reyes fell asleep at the checkout desk again. It was 8:58 p.m. closing time. Outside, outside, rain tapped the windows like a kid wanting in. Lena, age 9, was still in the kids' corner, reading about octopuses. 3 books, all overdue. She didn't want to go home. Home was loud since Dad lost his shift, so she hid under the puppet stage, held her breath when the lights clicked off. The library exhaled just her and 30,000 books breathing. She met them one by one: Atlas with the crinkled cover, a cookbook that smelled like her abuela, a poetry book that rhymed moon with spoon, and she laughed. Midnight she heard keys. Mr. Reyes had forgotten his umbrella. He saw her, didn't scold. He made hot cocoa in the staff room microwave. Can't sleep? He asked. She shook her head. Can't. Quiet. He nodded, pulled a blanket from Lost and Found. Library rule number 7, he said, inventing it on the spot. Sometimes we stay open for storms, the outside kind, or the inside. They read until 2 a.m. Octopuses, recipes, moonspoon poems. He drove her home after, talked to her mom at the door, quiet, adult voiced. Next Tuesday, new sign by the desk. Homework and hot cocoa club. Tuesday, 6 to 8. Storms welcome, all kinds. Lena showed up. So did 6 other kids with inside storms. Mr. Reyes never fell asleep at the desk again. Said he was busy. End poem.
Beautiful read, Fill My Eyes. Thank you so much. And Pam Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought this was really beautiful. It feels nostalgic to me because it takes me back to a time when my kids were little and they used to enjoy story time. But I like how this speaks on the importance of the local library and the importance of connecting with children um, through story time. And great lines throughout. But I especially like she didn't want to go home. Home was loud since Dad lost his shift. So she hid under the puppet stage, held her breath when the lights clicked off. The library exhaled, just her and 30,000 books breathing. I mean, those are just really powerful lines and very well done.
Beautiful comment. Thank you so much, Pam Ray. But the night the library stayed open, you know, I I really like that it stayed open for inner storms as well as outer storms, um, providing shelter and sanctuary for those storms that are raging inside and outside, especially a child's world. You know, when a child doesn't want to be at home, when they want to hide in the library, Um, it's so sad, and it's just wrong that children suffer that type of harsh environment of a
Yeah.
storm inside their own home. Uh, it's tragic when dads lose their jobs and begin to fight with their wife because there's too much time spent together, and the child has to suffer that. When children suffer, nobody wins. So um, it was nice of him to stay awake and to help the children by having homework and hot cocoa club Tuesday 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Storm welcome all kinds. It is a beautiful, touching right throughout. And fill my eyes. Your thoughts?
I agree with you in a lot of ways on that, Greg. I thought this was an excellent poem, and I enjoyed the piece of offering shelter to youth in need. I thought it was well expressed, and definitely congratulations on the front page pick. I I picked it up here. He nodded, pulled a blanket from Lost and Found. Library rule number 7, he said, inventing it on the spot. Sometimes we stay open for storms, the outside kind, or the inside. They read until 2 a.m. Octopuses, recipes, moonspoon poems. He drove her home after, talked to her mom at the door, quiet adult voice. Next Tuesday, new sign by the desk. Homework and hot cocoa club. Tuesdays, 6 to 8. Storms welcome, all kinds. Lena showed up. So did 6 other kids with inside storms. Mr. Reyes never fell asleep at the desk again. Said he was busy. Mr. Reyes found a purpose. Instead of just sitting there staring at the wall, he had a purpose. He was helping. He was helping those 7 kids on that given day. And I love it. I think it was a clever write and well penned. Um, if only it was that way in today's world, you know. Now, of course, everybody would be all up in arms because the kid was in the library. That's the way I feel about it. Just my opinion. But Nat, thanks for sharing with us tonight. Great piece.
Well, for sure. I mean, when your kid's being brought home at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
where the hell were you when that kid's been out there for so many hours
Like,
after dark? Like, come
like you
on,
didn't miss him.
what kind of parenting is that?
Right. Right.
But yeah, it was a wonderful right. But
Mm-hmm.
the coming home at 2 o'clock thing, not so much, not
Yep.
such a good thing. But anyway, we've got the next poem. This is called "The Artist" by Laurent Montagnier. I'll give this a read. To my audience, I speak with a noble candor. I cannot lie to the truth, beholden to who I am, or should I need to hide behind a dull iron mask, the false image of my actual persona exposed. Do not blame me for my eccentricity and ingenuity, for my wit and charm are traits I bear with a smile, even though I may not please the whole world. To the naysayers I say, frankly, I don't give a damn. I am just an entertainer, and not a righteous saint of glory, a mere man that speaks his mind when misjudged. Yet I am a kind gentleman with chivalrous repute, and I bow to the worthy applause of my creative art. Do not put me on a towering pedestal like Picasso to display, for I am just another mortal man made of the same bone and flesh, no more greater or lesser than those that admire me. I am no god of reverence or the embodiment of lust. I am only an actor that captivates with my voice, a playwright of countless dreams and aspirations. I think of me as that in the end, with an encore, the daring artist that had created an art, not illusion. End poem. And fill my eyes. Your thoughts? Unmute, Phil.
You're really asking a lot of me, Gray. Cut it out.
Yeah, it's better if the
Oh,
world hears what you got to say.
not necessarily. Oh my God. I say, you know, some of my best comments are made on mute. Uh, some of my worst ones are made in person. Nicely done by Frank. I liked the whole piece throughout. I think he had a lot to say in this. Um, and I picked up the last two stanzas on this. Do not put me on a towering pedestal like Picasso to display, for I am just another mortal man, made of the same bone and flesh, no more greater or lesser than those that admire me. I am no god of reverence or the embodiment of lust. I am only an actor that captivates with my voice, a playwright of countless dreams and aspirations. Think of me as that in the end of the encore with an encore. Wow, the daring artist that had created an art, not illusion. I think he hit on so many things throughout this, and it's like, don't look up to me. I'm just an average fella, I mean, I'm just another guy, and he didn't. He made it to be like, don't make me more than that. And I think it was well said. Frank does have a good way with words, we must admit. Um, so I liked it a lot. And thanks for sharing with us, Frank. And congratulations on the front page pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. Fill my eyes. And Pam Ray, your thoughts? Unmute, Pam.
Oh my gosh. I don't know where she went. Let me see. Did she go away? And I don't see any be right backs anywhere. Hang on, let me go over and look in the other. She may have said it over on. I don't see it over here on LNP either. I don't know. Pam, are you sleeping? Are you napping?
I was not. I was actually talking,
Oh,
um, but didn't realize I was on mute because I was looking at the right. I, I was apparently half asleep.
oh,
But great comment there, Jean. Yeah, I like this one by Lorient Montaner. It really thoughtful lines, a great first person narrative, amazing imagery. I thought there was this wonderful consistency in tone. I like how it makes a commentary on society, how oftentimes we're prone to worshiping those who are famous, actors, actresses, musicians, to the point that we forget that they're people just like us. They're flawed human beings just like us. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I did especially like the third and fourth stanzas. Excellent write and very well done.
Absolutely. Beautiful comment, Pam Ray. Yeah, I enjoyed the rate as well. Frank's always, um, I don't know, he's such a performer that it's almost as if he's writing this about himself, in my opinion. I'm only an actor that captivates with my voice, a playwright of countless dreams and aspirations. Think of me as that in the end, with an encore, the daring artist that had created an art, not not illusion. Yeah, I mean, he really is a great artist. I mean, his voice is reading is spectacular. You picture him on the stage as he's performing. Um, I don't know, Frank. You are an artist and a excellent writer. So beautifully done.
nice.
Okay, Pam Ray, I have the next poem up. It's called "Indifferences" by Miriam Kilmer. Whenever you're ready, please and thank you.
All right. Let me just get back to where I need to be. And
Sorry, I said indifferences. It's actually differences.
Hmm.
oh, okay. Okay. Keisha and Misha play behind the kindergarten door, unaware that they are any different from their colorfully clothed companions. Keisha is dark, with hair and eyes as black as shadows in the night. She's picked out overalls today, with a red baseball cap and purple boots. Misha is fair, with corn silk hair. Her pale blue eyes sparkle like dew beneath dawning skies. Somehow she seems uncomfortable in the fuchsia frills and handmade lace her mamma chose. They play with trucks and trains, imitating the noises they have heard. Why not? Boys shun them because, after all, they are not really boys. Girls keep themselves apart, wondering if they are fully female. They are just children holding hands, playing as they will behind the door with obvious affection. Why not invite them to your birthday party? End poem.
Beautifully read, Pam. Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, I like this. Everybody's different. The world is different. You are you, and nobody else is you and cannot be you. So your color, your hair color, your clothing, it really has nothing to do with anyone else but yourself. And so embrace the identity of self, and never let anybody shift you from that love and belief in yourself. So it was really inspirational, right? Educational, um, informative as well. The whole thing is spot on, beautifully done, Miriam. I like what you had to say. And Phil, may I share thoughts?
Well, I thought this was a nice piece. She starts off speaking about the differences between the girls. One is dark with hair and eyes as black as shadows in the night. And then she goes on about the other one is fair with corn silk hair. Her pale blue eyes sparkle like dew. But then she gets into something a little more off than that. They play with trucks and trains, imitating the noises they have heard. Why not? Boys shun them. After all, they're really not are not really boys, and girls keep themselves apart, wondering if they're fully female. Well, that takes it to a whole different place to me, because if they're that young, that they're in a kindergarten setting, right? Uh, the children don't have these ideas in their childish heads. They're being fed these ideas, and I find that to be off-putting to me. You know, um, they're just children. They're children being children, playing with whatever toys they like. So, I mean, I find that to be very odd. Um, excuse me, with them being snubbed by the other kids. I mean, that's kind of a sad chain of events in my mind. And then the ending line, "Why not invite them to your birthday party?" I thought that was just, I don't know. I guess it's just a little. When kids are young like that, it just seems a strange idea to put into their heads. But uh, you know, it was thought provoking. I'll say it that way. That's probably what I should have said in the beginning. I just kept my mouth shut. Probably my best route, but
Yeah.
but I mean that's just the way I see it. So nice job.
You were.
What's
Sorry,
that?
go ahead.
No, no, that's okay. I was just going to say thanks for the share. What were you going to say, Gray?
Yeah. I was gonna say your comment reminded me of I was married to this woman, and her brother had a wife, and they had a kid. And I remember I was holding hands with the little girl one day, and she looked up and she said, "Are you my boyfriend?"
Oh, jeez,
Little
yeah,
3-year-old girl. Are you my boyfriend?
Oh, that's
I'm like,
cute.
yeah,
but they,
you know, it,
that's a 3-year-old statement in innocence. You know what I mean? Are you my boyfriend? Sure. It's kind
yeah,
of it's kind of like when a little boy looks up at his mom and says, "When I get older, will you marry me?" Kids do it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, it's
Yeah,
just that's but anything on this level to me is just being fed to them by the adult. People putting ideas into kids' heads. Not necessarily
Yeah,
that
exactly.
the parents are speaking about these other two girls at the school, but it's the other things being said in their home life that leads them to those kind of conclusions. Because no children in a
Yeah,
kindergarten setting
exactly.
should be thinking like that. You know, I mean, that's just my
Y-
personal opinion. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
But her poem says so much without saying too much.
right,
It's
right,
kind of what I got out of it. Um,
right,
Girls keeping themselves apart, wondering if they're fully female. They're just children holding hands, playing as they will behind the door with obvious affection. Why not invite them to your birthday party?
right.
Because they're just innocent girls, and I
Absolutely.
thought it was just a wonderful write. And
Right.
Pam Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the underlying idea of this, the idea of embracing differences, that love is love, that we should
Right.
not only accept but embrace and celebrate differences. Yeah, I did think the most beautiful part was in the beginning when it was, about the innocence of childhood and these friends who accept each other despite
Right.
their differences.
Right.
Um, and I did like the question at the end, and it does like, it is slightly, like awkward that it's about children, though I get what Miriam is saying. Like it's almost like the children are replacing society in this poem, and the idea that society doesn't always accept people that are different. And why not get to know people that you
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't usually otherwise? So, nicely done, and definitely wonderfully thought provoking.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Beautiful comment. Thank you, Pam. All right, Fill My Eyes. We have Mismatch Black by T Manzano. Whenever you're ready, please
Oh,
and thank
hang
you.
on. Where is that?
It's another short little poem for you.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Oh, this one has a real link. I'm sorry. I was over on the topic board looking for it. My bad. Um. Okay. Paste. Put up. Over. Mismatched Black by T. Manzano. She arrived in it mismatched black, dripping with the fog of a local low, pushing in from the Pacific. No words, just a smirk and hands intertwined, staring from the top of her eyes, waiting for me to break. The night before, she glided into a low light after I had already been seated. I am always early. I am always prepared. I'd expected a labored reach based on her descriptions, but her dress shimmered with amber strobes, like a goth disco in the corner of a room. Caught spellbound, I held a stoic seat by accident, failing to rise as she approached. She slid into the chair without moving a single thing, no rustle of silver, no clink of stemware. I lifted a corner of my mouth, almost smug, miming a reaction I didn't actually feel. She talked through dinner. I struggled for coordination, using simple words as anchors. I asked for the check without looking away, signing my name was holding her while holding her gaze, like a stunt for an audience of one. She invited me out into the salt warm evening. We floated through Old Town, beneath street lamps, and windows filled with ghosts of others. Pale blues, dingy lace, leather strapped shoes. I kept my words small and far between, against the current of her stories. At the end of the road, I called a cab and held her hand into the back seat. As she pulled her head toward the window, the glass rolled down in perfect time. I kissed her. I didn't say goodbye. I turned and walked away because that's what the hero does. But now here she is, standing before me, breathing heavy, stripping the gloss off the memory as I realize I am just not this cool. End poem.
Fantastic, right? And Pam Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a wonderful write by T. Manzano. Really captivating lines, wonderful imagery. This is one of those rites that feels like an all too human moment, the observations of sensual movement, studying someone, looking at someone who you're very attracted to. It feels like that, the kind of first date awkwardness. And the idea of that awkward stumbling of a moment, that moment when you're just about to kiss, that moment when you're going to make that strong impression, and instead you just stumble over your feet or stumble over your tongue. And I thought there were great lines throughout, but I especially liked, we floated through Old Town beneath street lamps and windows filled with the ghosts of others, pale blues, dingy lace, leather strapped shoes. I kept my words small and far between against the current of her stories. At the end of the road, I called a cab and held her hand into the back seat. Just wonderful lines and very well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Pam Ray. But I liked it. It was atmospheric. You could feel the ambiance of the setting. Um, I read in the comments here. He said, oh, "Hold on, 1 second." He said they were both unveiled. Well, somebody said, "What a twist! I'm reeling. What really happened?" And T. Manzano said, "They were both unveiled. Her shimmer and goth disco lights were not spinning and strobing at his front door that morning. They found they were both not that cool. Got married, had kids, and realized that they were cool for each other." So what great storyline here. I thought it was
Oh,
wonderful.
that is great.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And a fantastic read, Phil May. I'm always happy to send you a nice short poem.
I know you are. Paybacks come rough.
Yeah.
Just remember that. Paybacks come rough. Where did you see these author's notes? That's what I want to know. I don't see them. Dag nabbit.
They're
You read
down
it
there.
somewhere else.
They're in
Oh,
the comments.
you read it in the comments. Okay, got it. I thought you said
Yeah.
author's notes. I'm like, I don't see that anywhere. Ah,
So what
absolutely.
did you think of the poem, Phil
Well,
Mayers?
I thought that Tim did a great job with this. Um, let me go back up. Uh, I love the imagery, and I thought the story was great. Um, and I picked it up pretty much at the very top, actually. She arrived in mismatched black, dripping in the fog of local low, pushing in from the Pacific. No words, just a smirk and hands intertwined, staring from top of her eyes, waiting for me to break. The night before, she glided into the low light after I had already been seated. I'm always early, I'm always prepared. I'd expected a labored reach based on her descriptions, but her dress shimmered with amber strokes, like a goth disco in the corner of the room. Caught spellbound, I held a stoic seat by accident, failing to rise as she approached. She slid into the chair without moving a single thing. No rustle of silver, no clink of stemware. I lifted the corner of my mouth almost smug, miming a reaction I didn't actually feel. I thought it was just wonderful imagery, and it kind of kept you engaged all the way through. So, carried you well into the rest of the poem. So nicely done, Tim, and thanks for sharing. And congratulations. Is this a front page pick, Craig? Or is this
No, this
open
was
poetry?
open poetry.
Well, thank you for
Yeah,
sharing with us. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Steve Manzano. Thank you, Phil, for that wonderful read. All right, up next we have another front page pick. We're back into the front page picks now. This is
Okay.
called this is by Five Default. It's called Terry Gilliam. I haven't ever been startled by no roadkill before. Done spat itself up with its stiff neck up straight roadside bump, speed trap, rubbernecking it, dirty villain. I like to brag about my DUI. So many lawyers and phone calls, all so loud and proud. Money in tone with debt, in walk, swaying hips, lawyer. Stuff like this don't bother me. Mm-mm. Head nod from the roughneck, twice calloused old-timer living roadside, swept up with the kitchen broom. Cat droppings, pig feed, good, well-fed rifle sling, big ol' hill, drinker. On with my day, east side sweeper. Wouldn't even know if it was gone 10 seconds later. That's the beauty of the drive-by. Quick, blink, fast and fun. End poem. And Family, your thoughts?
Oh my goodness gracious. It seems like she's writing about somebody drunk driving in Wisconsin. Good
Huh.
Lord. No, I like the use of dialect. It's a very intriguing write, very visceral and hard hitting. Um, it's interesting to me because the use of the dialect and the narrative makes it seem like it's all, like fun and cool. Like this person just doesn't give a damn, but that's also what makes it sad is that it feels like this person doesn't give a damn. They don't give a damn about their life. They don't give a damn about other people's lives. And I think that's the underlying note in this poem. I could be wrong, and maybe it's just the way my mind takes it. Um, and I thought there was great lines throughout, but I did especially like the third stanza. So nicely done by Five Default, and congratulations on a well-deserved front page pick.
Thank you, Family. And Fill My Eyes, your thoughts?
Well, um, first I have to see if I'm here. I am here. Yay. I thought that this was, she did a nice job writing this. It kind of had me going in the beginning, like the first one, it was like, roadkill, Oof. And then I like to brag about my DUI. So many lawyers and phone calls, also loud and proud. Money and tone and debt and walk. Swaying hips, lawyer. Okay. But stuff like this don't bother me. Mm-mm. Head nod from the roughneck, twice calloused. Old timer living roadside. Swept up with the kitchen broom, cat droppings, pig feed. What a description of this person. Good, well-fed rifle sling, big old hill drinker. So apparently, this was the one that had the hit and run. I don't know. Apparently, the name of the person is the title of the piece, and it looks like it's just calling him out to me. Um, but
Yeah,
it was pretty cut and dry, and pretty straight up on the uh, imagery, you know, as to who this person. He doesn't have any concern, because that's not his life. His life is at home doing whatever he's doing at home. It doesn't look like a whole lot from what's being said. So nicely done, Five Default, and congratulations on the front page pick.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Fill My Eyes. But um, this Terry Gilliam, he's quite a character. Like doing drive-bys, driving drunk, feeding cat droppings to the pig. Um, you know, the real character is Terry Gilliam, and I thought it was well expressed and beautifully written. But yeah, nice job. All right, so I have the next poem here, and this is by A. Robert Dedeb, and it's called "I Came to the Island to Make Photographs." The island lies to the side of a main channel, 50 feet from the western bank. Prairie grasses still live there, never been lost to the plow. The island is where deer come after they have been wounded, running through the brush, broken arrows hanging from their flanks. In the mud are raccoon tracks frozen for a time until the river rises in the spring and wipes the mud smooth. The coon will stay on the island away from the dogs. Sorry. And bright lights shined at him into the night trees. Geese stop by here in the late fall. They rest in the shallow, gravelly waters near where walleyes will soon spawn in spring. They don't stay long, and when they leave, their wings meet the water. The reflected spray causes prisms to form in my lens. Others have come to the island. They came to take fish and deer and quail, and scattered across the island are fire scars, mildewed blankets, styrofoam bait cups, spent shotgun shells, beer cans, all the things that people bring to use and leave when they do, leaving them in the tall grass, unseen until you look deeper. End poem. And your thoughts, Tammy?
Oh, this is wonderful. Um, Great imagery. I really well, first of all, a new name to me, A. Robert Zadeb. Um, I like that they shared this moment that they were able to witness the beauty of nature, having it stand out, and seeing not just what's clearly visible, but also looking closely at all the details of this island and as a habitat. But and then also pointing out the sadness of people littering and leaving their garbage behind and the way that it affects nature. And I thought there was strong lines and wonderful imagery throughout, and very well done.
Fantastic comment, Tammy. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like it. This island it sits alone, but it is never empty. It has things taking refuge from mankind. It has man trying to capture those things. An island is not upon itself, and it's quite evident in this right. It becomes littered with mildewed blankets, styrofoam bait cups, bent shotgun shells, beer cans, all the things that people bring in to use and then leave when they do, leaving them in the tall grass, unseen until you look deeper. Yeah, I've always been a fan of, going through the reeds and stuff along the edges of waterways just because I'm always fascinated what you find in there. Um, so many lures I found and, baseballs, etc., golf balls, you name it, it floats there and it gets trapped in the reeds. So nicely done, beautifully done. And have you commented, Phil?
No, I have not.
Okay, would you mind commenting, please?
Not at all. I thought this had beautiful imagery um, throughout, very well written, and it was definitely a well-deserved front page pick. Uh, the stanzas from the island is where deer come after they have been wounded, running through the brush, broken arrows hanging from their flanks. That in itself is that's sad imagery there. In the mud or raccoon tracks frozen for time. But when you get down to that very last stanza, others have come to the island. They came to take fish and deer and quail, and scattered across the island are fire scars, mildewed blankets, styrofoam bait cups, spent shotgun shells, beer cans, all the things that people bring to use and then leave when they do, leaving them in the tall grass, unseen until you look deeper. That stanza in itself shows the ignorance of way too many people. I mean, if you bring it in, take it out. And deers shouldn't be running around with broken arrows in their flanks. Hiding. They should be. Well, those poor animals should be handled accordingly. I'm just saying. But yeah, it's a sad ending to this, but a wonderful piece. The beauty of the that island was captured in the beginning of the poem, and I think it was well done. So nice job.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Thanks
sharing,
so
Robert.
much, Phil. My eyes.
You got it.
All right, Pam Ray, you're up next, please, and thank you.
All right. We have Sorting His Books by Janatul Firdas. In the afternoon I stack my son's books on the floor, thin ones first, then the heavy ones that fall open in the middle. His English book has a page bent, a word circled twice in pencil. I leave it there. The math book opens to one problem, numbers pressed hard, then lighter, then gone. Some pages are clean, too clean, left waiting. I make 3 piles. School stories, the ones he will read later. The last pile keeps growing slowly. A small eraser sits between the books, worn down to almost nothing. From the kitchen I hear him laughing, calling out something I don't catch. I straighten the edges, tap the books into line, then run my hand over the covers, just once, so it might help him find his way through them tomorrow. End poem.
Beautiful read, Pam Ray. Thank you so much. Yeah, I liked it. It's intimate. It's an engaging. It's a private moment that's captured and shared. Um, it's a mother's heart caring for her son, thinking about her son and his days, and the books that will fill those days, and in the order that they will fill them in. Um, but she's just trying to be a mom, helping her son find his way through the books tomorrow. So beautifully done. And fill my eyes. Your thoughts?
I thought this was a well-written piece. It was a moment in time, maybe a few moments in time, where she's sorting through and trying to help, I guess, organize him, help him to make it easier on him to find what it is he needs. Um, you know, I like how she made 3 piles: school stories and the ones he will read later. That's always that pile's getting higher because just doesn't seem to work that way with kids. Oh yes, I'll read that later. Yeah, sure, sure. Sometimes they do, but not always. But a small eraser sits between the books, worn down to almost nothing. Well, maybe that's why the math problem is fading and going lighter than gone. Maybe. But I straighten the edges, tap the books into line, then run my hand over the covers just once, so it might help him find his way through them tomorrow. I don't know. Um, but I thought it was nicely done because as mothers, we all do kind of similar things. Maybe not with books, but we all try and organize things and make it nice, and sometimes it's in vain, but sometimes it's not. So nicely done. Nice piece, and thank you for the share, Janatul Furtis. And yeah, congratulations on the front page pick.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Phil. And Pam Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought this was a wonderful write. I liked the short, straightforward lines, and yet it has this beautiful depth of meaning, wonderful imagery, and an excellent write that speaks to me on the idea of a parent who wants to install in a child a love of reading that will help them to learn and grow. Like this is a parent that wants what's best for their child. Beautiful lines throughout and very well done.
Absolutely. Beautiful comment. Thanks so much, Pam Ray. All right. So up next we have. Hold on 1 second. We have White Lioness brings us salt and cheap detergent. Whenever you're ready, fill my eyes.
Okay. Well, I have to ask you. Hang on a second. Uh, okay. Let me. You said White Lioness, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I'm 2 steps behind instead of just one. So here we go. I'm putting it up, and I'm coming over. Pam, how do you juggle this stuff? Do you get like me?
I just don't comment, you know, or
Oh, okay.
like I really, really short written comments. Plus, I'm not, I mean, if I was doing what you're doing right now, I wouldn't be juggling very well either.
Okay. Well, I feel
No, you
better.
need 8 hands, Bill. My eyes. You need to octopus yourself.
Yeah,
Pretty
you
pretty
need to
much.
become an octopus.
I need about 5 computers, one on each side, and just go boom, 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 boom. Okay. This is called Salt and Cheap Detergent by White Lioness. Sia John, I say your name just to hear something stay before the air goes flat. Sunday morning arrives like a bruise, the sun dragging across the grease on the stovetop, indifferent to the tea going cold in the cup. The TV talks of ground invasions and paragliders. We stare at the sky until the tendons in our necks cord, waiting for the silk to bloom like a threat. I felt the shift when your pulse went quiet under my thumb, not a distance, but the temperature of a stone pulled from a well. 175 children in Manab leave a hole the size of a playground, an absence heavy as wet cement. This thing between us sits on the floor like a rusted engine leaking oil into the rug. You touch my lips, the air is thick, as the smell of wood smoke caught in a damp wool blanket. Taking your name back isn't a break. Glass is too clean for this. It's the sound of a nail being pulled from the wood, leaving the rust behind. I move closer out of habit, the way a hand reaches for a light switch in a room where the wires have been cut. Outside, the sparrows pick at the dead moss on the window screen, punctual, as if the world isn't emptying. The light shows the thumbprints on the fridge, the dust settling on the unread mail. It shows everything and fixes nothing. Your white shirt in the hamper still smells of salt and the cheap detergent we bought on sale. That is what stays. Cold smoke of your side of the bed, pulling between us like a body heavy enough to drag home. End poem.
Beautiful read, Pam. I mean, sorry, fill my eyes. And Pam Ray, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is beautifully written by White Lioness and definitely a well-deserved front page pick. Strong imagery throughout. Um, Very powerful and emotive, and it's an excellent write that speaks to me on loss and grief, trying to reach for what life once was. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I especially liked the last four stanzas, and very well done.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful comment. And to me, it feels like it's an imagery filled, right? She's reminiscing about making peace in the empty space of a person's absence, of a lover's absence. Um, Obviously, this person has gone to war or something and didn't return. Um, so there's a sense of longing and a palpable loneliness. Cold smoke of your side of the bed pooling between us like a body heavy enough to drag home. It said so much, and it's just one little stanza. Um, it really is an epic, right? I thought it was beautiful and heart wrenching at the same time. So nicely done. Thank you for sharing, White Lioness. And Pam Ray, your thoughts?
Um, okay, I thought I had shared my thoughts on this one, but I guess not. Maybe I just thought no, I shared my thoughts on this one.
Okay, fill my eyes. What did you think?
He's got us completely confused, Pam.
He
I do,
does.
yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's the end of the show. I got chicken wings on my mind, and, my
Ah,
mind is elsewhere.
and the truth is now here.
Yeah, my
I
stomach's taking over my brain.
oh gosh. Well, that's not my problem, but I mean that's not what my problem is. My problems are a whole different ballgame. But yeah, I'm with you, Gray. I feel a little confused. I thought this was a very well penned piece. The pain and loss hangs low throughout the piece itself, and I thought she did a beautiful job. Where is it? The one that's used as the title. Your white shirt in the hamper still smells of salt and the cheap detergent we bought on sale. That is what stays. That is so relatable to me. Um, you know, and I found that to be a very strong stanza in my book. So I think that this was a wonderful job, White Lioness, and thank you for sharing with us. And congratulations on the front page pick. It was very well deserved. hmm Yeah, this is a wonderful piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, ladies, I'd like to thank you so much for calling in tonight, sharing your hearts, your minds, your voices, and most especially your time. Um, yeah, thank you so much for being here.
It was fun.
And Lee, feel better. Hope you get a better internet connection. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And yeah, we miss you, Lou. Hurry home. And
uh,
yes. And Pam, thank you very much. She,
yes, thank you so much, Fam Ray. Much love, everybody.
okay, good night, Gray. Thank you very much.
Good night, Phil. Good night. Thank you,
And
everybody that tuned in and listened in the studio as well. Thank you to everybody that will listen. Much appreciated, everybody. Good night, all.
good night.